Welcome to the Freedom Finders podcast. I'm Timothy, a Christian financial coach helping young believers break free from financial struggle and find a true freedom, helping them become wise with money. My question here today for this episode is, what does it mean to struggle with money? And why does it happen to young Christians specifically? Personally, I think the struggle is when money problems pop up. Well, actually, I'll describe it that way real quick. Quick brief on what it is, and I'll describe it later. The struggle is when money problems pop up often. Some examples is it's hard to make payments or rent, fighting with spouse or family members, parents, children, whoever is involved with your money or mental stress when handling it because there's a lot of emotion behind our paycheck and our bank account. Two, specifically why young Christians have this problem, I would say, is young Christians don't have good discipline with money. And the government doesn't teach us, it didn't teach me. And many believe that this is what it means to be a Christian, meaning we're just supposed to be broke or we're supposed to struggle financially. I'm here to say that that's not exactly true. That is not true. In this episode, I will be going over what the struggle is and why it's happening in more detail. So you get a clear picture of what is going on in your financial life and what to avoid if you want to become wealthy and win with money. There will also be a special bonus at the end, so be sure to stick around for that. Now, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Now, to help you understand, here is a quick story before we start. Well, we are starting, but the story is important. See, um, a story from my personal life. When I was 19, I was moving in with a friend to a nearby town because uh parents were driving me crazy and I was just ready to get out of the house. I thought I was ready. And everything was fine at first. It was fun. It was exciting for the first month or two. I had some money saved up and I was ready for it, or I thought I was. But as the months went by, the stress from trying to save money while still while still paying these bills because I mean we got a good deal on rent, but it still wasn't cheap. I wasn't making a whole lot of money. And on top of that, chores of maintaining the house and whatnot, it was stressful. Um it was very stressful trying to figure out how to save money on top of all of that. Now living on my own. And I wasn't prepared to move out. See, we rented for a year, me and my friend. That was the duration of the lease. And then I already decided like 6 months in that when this lease is up, I'm moving back. And the reason why is because let's see, I think I had like $3,300 in my savings account. I remember that because that was the highest I was ever able to get it for a year and a half at that point. And let's see, I we're coming back. I got into a bit of an accident, with my car, and not only was my savings gone, I actually had to borrow some money from my parents to help fix my car. So it just shows that I didn't make good decisions. The stress was getting to me, and I was not prepared for moving out, honestly, in my opinion. Now, that honestly, it made me feel awful. It made me feel embarrassed going through that whole year believing that I was ready to move out. I was ready to take on the world. savings dwindled down to basically nothing. Let's see, I think I had like 500 bucks left in my savings, which goes away quick. That was a check. That was a weekly check for me. Um, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed because of how badly I failed. I feel like I wasted a year of my life, at least financially speaking, living on my own and then having to move back with my parents so I actually could save a proper amount of money. And what it taught me is that we, as young Christians, have to do a better job at preparing for life. Many of you guys are coming out of high school, coming out of college. Maybe you've been on your own for a few years, maybe even 10 years. Because it's different for everybody. Like I said, I moved out at 19. If you're 29 and you've been out of house for that long, that's yeah. Um, but we have to be more prepared for life financially and spiritually because I believe it's connected. Now, now here's where the teaching section really begins. I have a verse here that I believe explains well why I struggled in my life, and I hope that you'll see how it connects to your situation if you resonate with that story, because it probably does. Proverbs 22, verse 6. Proverbs is my favorite book, by the way. It's awesome. Proverbs 22, verse 6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Sorry, hold on. I just lost my spot. There we go. A little bit of music I like playing in my ear. Now, so you train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. See, I was I was smart with money at the time. I saved up almost 3.5 grand. I knew about Dave Ramsey. If anyone out there knows about Dave Ramsey, I was kind. I was okay. Here's the thing. I was smart with money, but it wasn't enough. I was playing what Dave would call a Dave-ish style with money. I understood I had to be intentional. I wanted to save money and I wanted to do well with it, but I wasn't fully committed to making the effort and the sacrifices towards properly winning with money and setting myself up for the long term. Because we are, as young Christians, we are laying the foundation for what our life can and could be. God says that we can have wonderful, beautiful lives if we just obey, trust Him, and do what He says. The key word do, not just desire, but do. So yeah, see, I had a lack of a plan. I had a good idea what I wanted to do, but I had a lack of a plan. I was not following through. I was just half-aing it. I'm not going to say the curse word because I don't think that's right. But anyways, lack of what this has taught me is that lack of training will seriously harm your financial future. Going back to Proverbs 26, train up a child in the way that he should go. What this means is your parents should have taught you this. My parents did not teach me this. I was only smart with money because I had one class about finances that talked about Dave Ramsey and his philosophy with money because it's really good. As a matter of fact, I'll probably share a link to his stuff below if you want to go check him out. If you don't know him, he's great. He's my coaching course was based off of his stuff actually. Um, off topic. Our parents should have taught us this stuff. Our environment should have taught us this stuff when we're, 10 and up, even younger, honestly. How to handle money, how to win with money, how to prepare for our future, how to make wise decisions with money. But in a lot of cases, they're not. I had one class. I was very fortunate I had that class. It still took me about another 2 years after that class to fully commit to personally developing my financial life. Lack of training will seriously harm your future. It is not a joke because I want you guys to succeed with money. I want you guys to win, but the only way we do it is by planning, by preparing, by being intentional, by creating a plan and working the steps. That's why, if you know Dave Ramsey, he has this thing called the 7 baby steps. And they're very simple steps to win with money. If you want to go check that stuff out too, just look up 7 baby steps, honestly. Now, many of you might be thinking, what does this mean? This sounds like a bunch of ramble. I sure hope not. But just in case, here's where the lesson truly begins. I'm going to be making this as clear as possible for you guys to understand, guys and gals. Now, to recap a bit on what I'm trying to get you to understand and to make it as clear as possible, I'll share what I found to be the key elements that caused my financial struggle in my life and that story, why it happens, and how to fix it so we all can live better and wealthier lives. 'Cause I want you guys to win. I want you guys to win, and you can. You are young men and women, children of God. You are destined to win if you just take the right steps. So here they are. Number one I put down is a lack of preparation. Lack of preparation. See, in my story, I was not actively planning. I was not budgeting my money every month. I just thought, hey, I'll put some money into savings where it's convenient, where I see I have some extra. I've had months where I've put uh money in the savings and I had to take it right back out because I had to pay rent. I actually had a time that I was behind on rent, but my landlord was late to come pick up the money. So yeah, I was stressed. I was very stressed. Um, but yeah, lack of preparation is not planning and not learning how to do better with money. So what I mean by that is budgeting is key, uh, which is really just planning your month's expenses before the month begins. If you need a good budget app or budgeting system, I recommend Every Dollar. It's another thing by Dave Ramsey. And I use that, me and my wife use that personally to do all of our budgeting, and it works infinitely better than not doing it. So yeah, that's budgeting is key. And another thing is not learning. What I mean by not learning or not trying to grow in wisdom and knowledge, using some spiritual terms, is for example, as young Christians, we know that we need to study and read the Bible. We know we need to go to church. We know we need to get the word in. Um, and the same thing goes for our financial lives. We have to actively learn how to do better with money. We have to, um, people need to spend more time learning how insurance really works, what kind of life insurance is best. People need to figure out what kind of uh mortgages is best to get because some of them are just flat out rip-offs. Mortgages insurance, leasing cars is, or renting cars is, some financial decisions are much better than others. And simply just building the knowledge of understanding what is good and what is not to do financially. I actually remember there was a time me and my wife, we were just dating at the time. We were budgeting, we were figuring out how to get out of debt. And it's actually, I think this was like right after I moved back in with my parents. We, I wish I need to look at the clock better. I'm sorry. I'm on a time limit and I'm trying to figure that out. Anyways, story goes, we are budgeting and I'm helping her pay off her car, and there was a whole lot of tension behind that. If you money fights in a relationship suck. They absolutely suck. So please try to get along in a relationship. And I hope that just goes to show that money is connected to everything in your life, your mental health, your relationships. Anyways, I was trying to help her pay off her car. And I'm frustrated. She's frustrated. I remember yelling at her because I didn't like how we were doing things. I didn't like that she had the car to begin with. I had my car paid for, and she wanted to go get a car under a loan. Um, but yeah, it's what was my point here? It's we have to learn how to manage money better as it comes to our future financial self, because you are going to get older and you're going to regret the bad decisions that you make today, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Um, we need to learn how finances are related to relationships. We need to learn how finances are related to God and our spiritual well-being. We need to learn how finances affect our mind. We need to actively learn how to do better with money so we can improve our lives. And God teaches that. He says you reap what you sow. If you reap or if you sow financial knowledge, you will reap financial knowledge, wisdom, all of that. Now, the second thing is a lack of discipline, avoiding growth pain and struggle. See, in this life, as young Christians, I'm sure you'll know this. I hope this resonates. We are going to struggle, period. I'm actually remembering James 1, verse 1 says to have joy in the Lord, to have joy in your trials. Let me see if I can. James 1, verse 2 says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Why? Because you are growing. You are growing in character in the Lord. You are growing in knowledge and wisdom. But when we don't have discipline, we are avoiding these pains, these struggles. And the sad reality that people don't get is that they're actually just replacing them with long-term pain. See, overcoming trials and tribulations is a short-term pain. It hurts for a moment, but it grows us and it benefits us later. But not having discipline and not doing those, not trying to overcome those trials, but instead just, I've been hearing this term lately, slide back, uh, meaning to kind of fall back in your faith to stop the practices that you've been doing. Let's say you've been reading your Bible every day, and then today you were just like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to do that today for just because you didn't feel like doing it. That's sliding back spiritually. And we can do this kind of thing in many aspects of life. So we have to have discipline. We have to push through the pain. It's called delayed gratification. We push through the pain to get delayed gratification for the greater gifts that come after the pain, because there are no gifts for avoiding discipline. The pain is just stretched out and then has interest, like the interest on mortgages or cars. When you go into debt, I think we all know we have to pay extra when we are in debt. We have to pay extra in terms of pain when we choose to, stand back, lean back, and just avoid the hard things. Oh, first episode, I was not prepared for all of this talking. Gosh, Lee, my throat. Now, the third thing is lack of vision. Lack of vision. Remember, God says, I believe it's in Proverbs, pretty sure it is. He says, the people without vision will fail. They will suffer. Uh, I remember he was specifically talking about in terms of obeying him, obeying the commandments. But I believe it stretches further than that. I remember where the people where the people don't have vision, the people perish. They will perish. And so what I really mean is maybe you are preparing in some sort of sense, or you're probably not. Maybe, but we'll just put it this way. You are preparing, you are budgeting, you do have discipline, you are doing good things, but lacking vision means that you don't have a reason why. So lacking vision means you don't have something that you're aiming for, something to improve in your life financially. Such as, for example, I'll just give you a piece of my personal life. I am focused on growing this business with about every fiber inside of me, which is why I'm recording a podcast now. And financially speaking, my here's a goal. I have a goal for 5 years from now to have a paid for house. Now, if any of y'all know the cost of houses, you might think, oh my gosh, that's insane. But I got a little bit of an advantage with the business if it succeeds, or when it succeeds, not if, because it will. It just takes time. Um, but see, that's my vision for my finances. 5 years from now, my vision is to have a paid for house. That is my why. That is the why of pushing. That is my why for not stopping at Starbucks to get a coffee. That is my reason why for putting an extra $100 in the bank. That is my reason why for avoiding fancy dinners on date night and going to, Dairy Queen with my spouse, because we, me and my wife, have a vision for having a paid for house in the next 5 years. That is what we're aiming for. That is what we're striving for. And so that's what I mean by vision. What is your vision? What is something that you want to accomplish financially? Do you want to get out of debt? Do you also want to have a paid for house? Do you want to pay off your car? I had a buddy who had that. And it goes further than that. I remember this. same guy I'm thinking of. He has a dream to have a paid for farm. He wants to be a farmer. He wants to have chickens, pigs, and crops. Or I think it was just an animal farm. Anyways, so it's not necessarily a dollar amount that you want to have in your retirement accounts. It's not necessarily how much money you want to have in stocks. It's That's what I mean when I say we are finding financial freedom. That's why I call this the Freedom Finders podcast, not the How to Become a Millionaire podcast. Because we are actively trying to improve with money. If you're still listening to this, that's what you're doing. You're trying to improve with money because we are trying to find freedom. We're trying to find financial freedom so we can have peace of mind. And so I mean, it honestly, this is probably the biggest part, just having a vision. If you have that vision, I mean, that's why God says the people without vision will perish. Because if you don't have this vision, you have no reason to take on the trials. You have no reason to take the effort to prepare and plan. So that's what's important. You need to have a why. Real quick water break because my throat is dying. Oh, I thought I was going to record 4 podcasts back to back. That may not happen because this is number one. All right, guys, real quick. I got a special gift for you to wrap this episode. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I got it. Now, to wrap up this episode, because we're almost done, I have a gift for you. Just give me 1 minute. I give you the financial clarity test. It will help you solve most, if not all, of the problems you have in your financial life. Designed to make your financial health clear, a lot like a checkup at the doctor. So you know what is working and what is not. And it gives you feedback with every question so you can improve your financial health right after finishing the short test. The link will be in the description. Just click the link, put in your email, and take the test that will give you more clarity and less stress in your financial life. Go take it today. It'll be a great help. So, quick recap. You learned what it means to struggle financially and why we young Christians struggle financially. Based on scripture, you realize the importance is to train yourself while you are still young, and the financial clarity test will help. So, please help yourself with that because it's free. Now, this is the Freedom Finders podcast. I'm Timothy, a Christian financial coach helping young believers break free from financial struggle and find true freedom by helping them become wise with money. What do you think of this first episode? What did you like? What did you dislike? Please share in the comments below. It helped me out a ton. It helps me make these episodes better for you guys. Now, thank you for listening, Freedom Finder. I consider you a freedom finder. And I'll teach you more in the next episode. So I'll see you then.